Holden Racing Team. It should be interesting to see what happens here if there's any team orders. Brock currently 4th in the championship on 140 points. Lowndes 2nd on 221. With a maximum of 240 points still available, Brock is still in with this championship with a heck of a shake.
Well, you know, you see Dick Johnson just reaching down there, adjusting the brake bias on the car. He must have a little bit of a trouble with it. I'd say he's probably locking rears, and so he's just going onto the front a little bit to try and make the thing a bit more stable under brakes. Well, we've got Seaton here pulling up close to Johnson, and Dick, as I said, playing around with the brake bias here before. Maybe the car is just getting a bit lighter in fuel, but you watch the back of the car rolling around and sliding across the circuit. This is a very rough part of the circuit. That puff of smoke was probably where the front spoiler is hitting the ground down in there, and this morning in the warm-up it was hitting the ground that hard to pop the indicator out of it. So just give you an idea how hard these cars have to work.
I don't think he'll be using the indicator anyway, will he? It won't worry.
No, I don't think it made too much difference to his speed.
Well, that's interesting stuff. Glenn Seaton starting off 4th position on the grid. Jumped up behind Johnson early on, but he hasn't been able to make too much of an impression. The lap time's fairly stable, 52.49 and 52.45 that last time around for Seaton. It's been fairly constant at the top of the field. 5 seconds now, the gap from the Holden Racing Team cars to this pair, dicing for 3rd and 4th position.
Seaton responsible for a great drive at Calder. As we go back to the leaders, Brock and Lowndes, the pressure continues to be maintained by the young gun. But Brock with a wealth of experience. It's going to depend as we run the top placings across the bottom of the screen for you. It's going to depend, as Brad Jones said, on whether there are any team orders, which you'd expect there are likely to be, considering the championship positions. John Bowe in 6th position in this race, the narrow series leader by just 3 points over Craig Lowndes. So the finishing positions in this race all important as we head into the latter half of the series.
13 laps completed. Glenn Seaton currently running in 4th position, and don't forget, Glenn Seaton has some critical points to make up here too. Currently 3rd in the championship, well within striking distance. There's Stephen Ellery, Chelgrave Falcon, getting into all sorts of trouble.
If you just watch the back of Dick's car here, you can see it sort of rolls and then slides a little bit. So the tyres he has on the back of that car are quite hard, but you know, looking at Glenn's car from the outside, looks to be a little bit more stable. So I'd say he's holding Glenn up here, but you know, as I said, very hard place to pass. And you know, one of the reasons we think he's holding him up is because the whole field's banking up behind him. So this is quite a Congo line they've got going here, and it'll be interesting to see who can pass who. Yeah,
well, it'll be a good effort by Gardner, and of course he's got John Bowe stuck right in behind him. Wayne Gardner, of course, was not scheduled to drive here at the Lakeside meeting. Neil Crompton was going to drive when the meeting was to be held last weekend. Wayne Gardner was in Japan, finished 3rd in the sports car endurance race there at Fuji, but with the postponement here, he stepped back into the car and is doing a good job.
Yeah, well, I'm sure Crompton's at home not liking this very much, but they've cut the team back to 1 car, so Crompton's not here racing this weekend, and one of the reasons, besides money, is, I guess, to be a bit more focused on that particular car, and they're getting a good result so far this weekend. Meanwhile, Craig Lowndes has found a way past Peter Brock, and he's opening up a bit of a gap to his teammate too, sitting behind Brock for quite a number of circuits. We're just to see if he can cut some quicker laps as this race winds to a close. He certainly opened up quite a gap to Brock in that short time. And the lap that he got past Brock, he was a bit over a second faster, so I'm not sure whether Brock's got a problem or whether Brock's rolled over. There's John Bowe, our championship leader, still under enormous pressure from Alan Jones and the pack leader Ford. Jones really pumped up here in practice and getting closer and closer to a race setup that he likes. Well, I tell you what, Alan Jones will be pretty pleased with the performance of the car so far here at Lakeside after the disaster at Calder. He was really down in the dumps after that. Oh, here he goes, tries to get underneath Bowe, but just not enough room to get through there. But yeah, he was in a very black mood after Calder. Yeah, they had all sorts of brake problems down there, unexpected brake problems, not so much with the hydraulic systems of the brakes, but the brake pads themselves. They managed to sort that out, and in the extra week they had, with this meeting being washed out, they found a little bit more horsepower on the engine dyno. So slow, steady progress toward the front of the pack, I guess you could say, for pack leader, and they're very confident they'll have the package by the time Bathurst rolls around. Johnson goes through, followed by Seaton, then Bowe and Jones. What a battle this is. See a big chunk of something fly off the track there. Bowe really working the car hard, standing on its nose, maximum braking into the carousel. Alan Jones applying plenty of pressure, but Bowe equal to the task. Tremendous
this battle for 5th and 6th position. John Bowe, said before, just 3 points ahead of Craig Lowndes in the championship chase. So every point here will be crucial if Bowe's to hang on to that narrow lead. So the order now: Lowndes, Brock, Johnson, Seaton. It's the battle for 5th and 6th. Bowe and Jones just sneak inside the Ozjet Falcon. John Trimble. And back onto pit straight once again. 20 laps completed, 2 to go for our race leader. They've broken up into a number of separate battles there.
These two have edged away from the Bowe-Jones dice, which they're all very close there with Gardner in the middle before. So I don't know what happened. Maybe he punctured a tyre, or there might have been a bit of contact.
Last lap for Craig Lowndes. He leads his teammate Peter Brock. Last time around, this very fast 2.41 kilometre circuit. He's got an excellent start off the second row. Pushed his way in front of Brock and has just waltzed away at the front. Another crushing display from Lowndes as he tries to get in charge of the points situation once again.
The much vaunted HRT supercar crossed the start-finish line for the checkered flag, and Craig Lowndes victorious in this opening race, the 7th round of the Shell Australian Touring Car Championship. Peter Brock crosses the line in 2nd place. Dick Johnson hangs on for 3rd ahead of Glenn Seaton, then John Bowe and Alan Jones. Confirming those placings on the Shell race score: Craig Lowndes the winner, Peter Brock 2nd, then Dick Johnson, Glenn Seaton and John Bowe. They're the top 5. 6th position went to Alan Jones, Larry Perkins, Mark Scaife, Tony Longhurst and Paul Romano, the top 10. And talking of Tony Longhurst, we'll be talking to him after this break.